Hi boys and girls, it's Auntie Etta. Do you remember what the Bible lessons have been about these past few weeks?
God? Jesus?
Well, yes, everything we learn about in the Bible is about God and Jesus, but we have been learning specifically about the fruits of the spirits, which are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So we have 2 Bible lessons left on the fruits of the Spirit. We have gentleness and self-control, and this week we'll be discussing gentleness.
I have so much candy after I donated some. These are my favorite. Hershey's, Snickers, Starburst, Double Bubble. But I know I can't have any after, my mom told me I can't have any after dinner. So I'll go wash up for dinner. Man, I am so hungry from all that running and stealing. I know I'm not supposed to, but I'm gonna eat it. What are you doing? I was hungry. I saw these candies here and I knew they weren't mine, but I was so hungry. Oh, I didn't know you were that hungry. But if you were that hungry, you could eat some. Thank you.
In our kindness video, we talked about a Bible verse found in Proverbs 15:1. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Now let's take a look at another couple of Bible verses that talk about gentleness. In Philippians 4, verse 5, it says, "Let your gentleness be evident to all." And in Ephesians 4, verse 2, it says, "Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing one another in love." When we choose to respond to others in a gentle manner, instead of anger, we are showing others those fruits of the Spirit that are gifts from God. So let's take a look at a story in the Bible found in John 8, verses 1 through 11, that shows us Jesus' gentle response to a woman caught in sin. We read in John chapter 8, verses 1 through 11, "But Jesus went to the Mount of Olives early in the morning, and he came again to the temple, and all the people came to him. And he sat down and he taught them. The scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in adultery, and placing her in the midst, they said to him, 'Teacher, this woman has been caught in the act of adultery. Now, in the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. So what do you say?' This they said to test him, that they might have some charge to bring against him. So Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger on the ground. And as they continued to ask him, he stood up and said to them, 'Let him who is without sin among you be the first to throw a stone at her.' And once more he bent down and wrote on the ground. But when they heard it, they went away one by one, beginning with the older ones. And Jesus was left alone with the woman standing before him. Jesus stood up and said to her, 'Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?' And she said, 'Not one, Lord.' And Jesus said, 'Well, neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on, sin no more." Here we see a beautiful story of the way that Jesus dealt with a woman caught in sin. The religious leaders were more concerned with tricking Jesus into doing the wrong thing than actually helping the woman. Even though she did do the wrong thing, Jesus showed his love, compassion, and gentleness when all her accusers had gone away. He asked if anyone was without sin, that they could throw the first stone. But not one person could do that because we are all sinners. Jesus forgave the woman and told her to go and sin no more. So let's take a look at another Bible story found in Matthew chapter 26, verses 47 to 52, where Jesus responds in gentleness to those who were against him. While he was still speaking, Judas came, one of the 12, and with him a great crowd with swords and clubs, from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had given them a sign, saying, "The one I will kiss is the man. Seize him." And he came up to Jesus at once and said, "Greetings, Rabbi." And he kissed him. And Jesus said to him, "Friend, do what you have come to do." And then they came up and laid hands on Jesus and seized him. And behold, one of those who were with Jesus stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. And then Jesus said to him, "Put your sword back into its place, for all who take the sword will perish with the sword." So here's a story about Jesus and the way that Jesus responds to Judas betraying him without anger, and the way that he stops Peter from fighting is a great example to us of gentleness. So kids, it's so important to remember that we are all sinners. There is none righteous, no, not one. We are no better than anyone else. And even as Christians, the only thing that makes us different from those who are not Christians is God's love and forgiveness in our lives. How can you show gentleness to others this week?